Ford Mustang TT4.
Dominant fashion, highly glad.
Yeah! Area 51 podcast. This is Cap Houston right here. Bobby, what you got for me?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Bobby. We've got Stuart. We've got Michael. How you guys doing today?
Great. How about yourself?
Doing good.
Stuart, welcome back.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Glad to be back.
Hey, Ryan, I know you're listening. We missed you, man. We tried to make it 3 in a row.
He's tired, man. He worked hard today.
So, episode 104 out of season 2. Long season. This is our final season of season 2. I want to thank all of our fans, all of our partners. I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight. So, with that being said, Michael, I'm going to let you take the floor. Tell us about yourself and tell us how you got involved in racing.
Been on racing pretty much my whole life type thing. Love to go fast. I've always gone fast, even as a kid. I can remember back at 7 years old, me and my friend, beefing up our mini bikes type thing, seeing how we could make them go faster. Just trying to just get speed. And then we grew up and got into street bikes, got into four-wheelers, riding ATVs up on the property up in northern Michigan where I grew up at. Grew up in southern Michigan, but we had property up in northern Michigan that we still own to this day and love to go riding on. I go back every year and take the side-by-side up there and tear it up, try to stay out of trouble and make it back down to Florida and keep everything, right side up on four wheels. But I've done anything from, racing ATVs to racing side-by-sides, sand drags. I had a sand drag four-wheeler back in the day when I was 19 years old at, 157 mile an hour on a sand drag. Like I say, we've always gone fast. We've had the Ninja, Kawasaki Ninja bikes. We've had, trucks. We've had cars. Pretty much anything we could race, we raced. And a few years ago, got into it professionally with one of the contacts, which hopefully we'll have on the show here soon with the Florida Sheriff Youth Branches. One of my friends, Wayne Witzak, introduced me to JD Motorsports. He's like, "Hey, Mike, we're going to put the star on the car and we're going to give him an award for it. I see you're in Daytona for the race. Why don't you come back?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't have tickets to get back into the pits. How am I getting into the pits?" And he's like, "Oh, meet the sheriff out front," because being Florida Sheriff Youth Ranches, they obviously deal a lot with the sheriff's department and stuff like that. So, we got in the back, met with Johnny, got to meet, my business partner now at Service Master that I own, which is Gary Keller, which was Johnny's partner at the time. So, me and Gary got to talking. We ended up opening the business together a couple years later, and it's kind of snowballed and just kept growing. Gary knew, Mike Harmon and said, "Hey, a couple years ago, let's help Mike out," type thing. He needs some help with the team. I want to be an Xfinity team owner, and I'm like, "Sure, be a professional team owner." Never even thought of or imagined, having that opportunity. And Gary kind of laid that in my lap, and so I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure, let's go ahead and do it." So we did it. We did 12 races with Mike Harmon, and then we decided to part ways. But in the meantime, made a lot of great contacts in the industry, which was really surprising. The small knit family that racing is. Obviously, you hear about a lot of this NASCAR stuff, and there's a lot of people out there that look at it and say, there's the bad, good, and the ugly of any industry type thing. But I got to see a lot of the good side of it. So I kept those contacts no matter what. And a few years later, we had with the Youth Ranch, we've got the Race to Give initiative with the Youth Ranch, and that's how Wayne had introduced me to Johnny and stuff. So he asked me to step in on all the racing that was related to the Youth Ranch and help him out with that. So we got involved with Becca on a local. We've got involved with a couple other sprint cars. We've got involved with some Banderos, F1. There's just a lot of racing that got involved. And we looked at Johnny as being the premier one at the time. And then Johnny, the team, Johnny decided to close the team up for a little bit and regroup and, hopefully come back in the future here. But in the meantime, when we was with Mike, I reached out to Becca and said, hey, do you want to test for ARCA? Just try to give her that boost up to go from the Florida Pro Trucks and step into the professional limelight. And she said, sure, why not? So she did some testing with Mike Harmon, and then it turned around, shortly after that testing, she ran for Daytona and ended up meeting Stewart. And I didn't even know that her and Stewart were talking at the time at all. And I got invited by Becca out to New Smyrna for some testing, got to meet Stewart, and it just kind of snowballed from there. It went from, Stewart's like, hey, I wish we had this, or I need this information here. And I was like, hold on a sec, picked up the phone, made a phone call to some of the contacts that I had from the Xfinity team and got the answers. I've reached out to Ryan many a times throughout the, last 2 years. I've reached out to Mike Harmon, Jeremy Connors. I've reached out to a lot of people in the industry that have just been there for us. And I knew even a lot of people I didn't know and just said, hey, we need this info. We need help with this. Can you help us with that? And there was a lot of people willing to step up and give me that information because of knowing what I did with CGM, or not CGM, CHK with Mike Harmon, and liked what I did at that point, liked how, we came about. So a lot of people just looked to help out. So we just slowly progressed, and me and Stu got to know each other better, going to races together. I got to help out with hauling trailers and just kind of stepped in anywhere that I could on the team and tried to help push the team along to make the team better. And that was just out of, friendship type thing. That wasn't even out of, looking to be an owner, looking to be a driver. That was just looking to help a good team out. Becca being a good driver, Stuart being a great person. I just wanted to see the team grow and try to point it in the right direction. So we kept working together and collaborating together, and finally got to the point where, me and Stuart both talked that, after IRP, that there was some issues with flights with Becca trying to get up to IRP and windows shutting down and the airline shutting down. And she almost didn't make it up that way. And me and Stuart looked at each other and said, one of us have to get her license type thing, or both of us get her license. That way, if this ever happens again, then we've got some type of backup. We can look who's going to be the better person to jump in the car to make some laps to keep the sponsors happy. And so I ended up getting my license just before Michigan and was able to, have the opportunity from Stewart very gratefully. We had just purchased the number 5 car, and we're like, well, if we're going to take it up there, let's shake it down. And I'm like, well, I'll jump in and shake it down type thing. So we did some practice laps, and everything went good in practice. Did qualifying, qualified 19th on it on my first time out at Berlin. And I'm like, okay, cool, let's run it. So we ran some laps and ran into a little bit of mechanical type thing. It was a brand new car to us. We really didn't have time to even shake it down at the shop to make it ready for the race. So we just sat there and, we looked at that opportunity. I told Stewart, come on the radio and tell me if you see anything. I'll tell you if I see it, feel or see anything. And, I don't have the, I don't have an issue with it at all. If you say pull it in after first lap, I'll pull it in after first lap. If we go to lap 12 or 15, great. If we go, further in the race, great type thing. But we ended up pulling in with a little bit of mechanical issues. The car, wasn't quite ready for what we were trying to do with it. So we went, left there, ended up going to my mom and dad's up in Michigan, did some work on it, went over to Alex Club's place, did a little bit of work on, there, helped him and his dad out a little bit on their stuff. And then ended up going over to Elko and running some laps at Elko. And same thing, there was literally a ball joint that was just, I didn't know that it was loose at Michigan. We got into Elko, following around Isabella around the track, picked up some good time, and ended up, feeling the ball joint kind of skip and the steering box skip on me. And I was like, I'm not going to push this. We're going to go and pull this in. I'm not putting this thing in the wall. So we put it, pulled it in, got it looked at, found out what was going on with it, got all that corrected and stuff. IRP wasn't very good. We got rained out. We didn't have enough points. We didn't make it in. But shortly after that, me and Stuart had been talking, but Stuart's like, if you're going to keep doing all this work and, putting money into it and time into it and stuff like that, he's like, I'd really like to have you as, co-owner. And I'm like, well, it's not necessary. I'm not asking for that. I'm doing this out of the, generosity of my heart. I want to see everybody succeed. And he's like, no, he's like, I want to make it right. You need to be, I want you to be co-owner next to me type thing. You're doing everything as an owner would do, stepping up and doing everything right. and helping putting us in the right direction. So that's when, we decided and announced, recently that, I was the owner of the team, co-owner of the team. So we did, it's just over time grew type thing. And like I said, it's good relationship. We've done a lot of work together. We've done a lot of great work together. We've got a lot to go forward with. That's how, Stuart met Ryan because he was helping us out at the tracks and stuff like that. And the relationship that I had with him and Mike Harmon, he was my crew chief there for the first few races. So we knew it was a good fit, and Ryan, luckily we had the opportunity to come across Ryan and say, hey, he was available. I was extremely surprised of that when that was announced that, Rob was closing up, and then Ryan being available. And, me and Stuart got on the phone together real quick. It's like, hey, can we make this happen? What's it going to take to make it happen? To have somebody like that on our team, it will just absolutely take us to the next level of having that, that knowledge that Ryan brings to us, like Stuart, we've talked before, is, the level that Ryan brings to us is just awesome. Type thing. He can look at a part and sit there and say, that part's bent. We're like, we didn't know it was bent type thing. And just give us that extra knowledge to take us that extra step and give the girls the best car that we can give them. Even to the point, he said there was joking with me. He's like, Mike, you didn't have a chance with that car. You should have, we should have done this and should have done that. And let's tweak it this way and tweak it that way. And, that. So I'm like, well, we'll give it another chance. Hopefully, I'll get another chance behind the wheel sometime throughout the year, and we'll see what happens type thing. Like I say, I always love to race. Like I tell stories, I don't have the pride that I have to be in the car just because I have a license type thing. I want to be there as a backup in case we ever need somebody to be in the car, whether it be one of the girls are sick, one of the girls aren't able to make it to the race, something happens, that we can still keep our sponsors happy and still keep everything moving forward. And that's one of our big goals, is just to put our best foot forward, try to take this team to new levels. And, me and Stuart's kind of joked about it. It's like when we show up next year for 2026 and show up in Daytona in January, that we put everybody on notice that, we're here to stay and we're here to perform.
So you guys go, first of all, I did not know you were from Michigan.
Yes.
I'm in Ohio. So
Yep.
I'm just outside of Toledo.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
I grew up 45 minutes from you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm 45 minutes from MIS.
Yeah. Yep. So basically, I grew up in a little town in Michigan called Ypsilanti. It's basically just outside of Ann Arbor, Michigan, in between Ann Arbor and Detroit. And my parents now live in Belleville, Michigan. And anytime we go up to the races up there, Stuart's seen after Berlin, and we're probably going to go there, a couple times throughout the year and stuff. This next year is, they've got a nice big garage, very welcoming, big house that, they can accommodate us to come in and work on the cars. We're looking at doing, getting a couple things picked up. And my dad, we reached out to my dad. We're like, hey, you're retired. Can you go pick this up for us so me and Stuart don't have to drive to West Virginia? And he's like, sure. He's like, I'm up deer hunting right now, but as soon as I get done hunting type thing, I'll be more than happy to go pick it up. So, we're working on a few things on that side to try to help us out, just so we can stay down here and stay focused on the cars right now. I know you guys talked on the one show there with Ryan about how we've got the setup shop, and then we also have, the fab shop. So like I said, we've got a lot going on, a lot tearing into these cars to make sure that they're going to be right for the 2026 season.
So Stuart, I'm gonna throw you in the ring with this too. So can you both kind of give me the insight of last year it was primarily a one-car team. This year, obviously, you got two cars. Tell us what the hurdles are, or what you're expecting in 2026 with having two cars.
Well, of course, I mean, some of the hurdles are obvious. I mean, you have to have twice as much of everything to be able to be successful. So you need twice as many cars, twice as many motors, twice as many transmissions. You have twice as many setups. You have twice as much things to do. But there is an economy of scale when you get in racing, and obviously, people who have mastered it, like Andy Hillenberg and the Venturinis and ones like that can bring 4 and 5 cars to a track on a weekend and run them. There is an economy of scale, so you can kind of put a production line. And that's what we're trying to do right now with ours is Ryan is trying to get all of our cars set up the same way so that all the geometry is the same, everything is the same, so that no matter which car you're working on, you should be able to bolt the parts on any of the cars because they should all fit the same way because the geometry is the same. And so right now, we didn't know what we had last year. We set up the cars the best we could with what we knew and the knowledge, and we thought Tom did a good job. We had a couple of good top 10 finishes. I mean, when we were running, we never finished below 14th, but we did have some issues that we continually were gremlins for us. We blew a couple motors. We did get caught up in an accident in Daytona, which destroyed a car, hurt us. But right now we're really feel like we're getting a chance to go through every one of these cars from top to bottom, finding mistakes in the car that hurt us a little bit on speed at different places. And I really feel like when we come back in spring with the cars that we have, we're going to be in a whole different place than we are right now. And we fully expect, and I know Mike will tell you just as much as Ryan will, and so will the girls, that when we go out to compete, we want to go out to compete for wins. We're not just going out to put laps on our cars. And that's our goal as a team. Doesn't mean we're going to be successful every race out, but that is our goal when we go to a track, is to be, competing for top fives and competing for wins and hopefully winning the championship in the East. And so everything we're doing, from working on the cars to the new shop to, we have a big team builder coming up in December. All of our team is going to be in town for 3 days. We're going to be doing a big team builder with our team. From every team meeting we have, everything that we do is totally and 100% geared towards having a championship quality program. And, Mike coming on board has helped us really kind of get to where we needed to be. I had vision of where I wanted to be and where I was striving to be, but I don't think I had all the skills that I needed and expertise and contacts to be able to do that. And Mike came in and filled all those voids that I had. And, as an ownership group, I feel like we have pretty much everything covered. And if we don't have it covered, we have ways of trying to get it covered. And that's the real positive about us.
Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, no, we've definitely put our best foot forward going into the 2026 season. I've learned a tremendous amount. Even when I was with Mike Harmon on the Xfinity team, I wasn't hands-on type thing. I was an owner of the team with Gary and Mike, but it wasn't like I was there working on the cars every day, or even rarely ever. The only time I really touched the car is out in Vegas. I helped Ryan and Mike get the car set up and stuff like that, Ryan Vargas. And we did some work out there, but that was literally the only time. And that was because I was out there at a conference for my other job at, working at Service Master. And so I told Stuart, coming into this, that I want to be involved in it, every aspect of it type thing. I've got to understand every aspect of the business type thing. When it comes to the marketing side and comes to the, administration side, I know that I own a business now. I know a lot of that. I've worked through a lot of that on that side, but understanding these cars, it's going to take me years to understand the geometry and the stuff that Ryan Bell knows. But to be able to unbolt and bolt parts on, to make sure, go through and do a bolt check on a car to make sure it's, good, everything's good and tight. When I took the 5 back to IRP, I even asked Stuart, I said, I feel I wasn't getting in and out of the car fast enough myself. So I wanted to bring the car here to my shop, at my house, to sit there and test myself and time myself of getting in and out of the car to make sure that I could get and feel, because I've always looked at it, if I don't feel comfortable, I can't push the envelope of where I need to be with whatever vehicle I'm driving. I've got to be 100% comfortable with that vehicle and what its capabilities are or not. And then at the same time, I was like, well, since I've got it here, I'll put it up on my lift. And I started going through and doing the bolt check. I made sure that every single bolt and every single nut on that car was tight. Everything was where it needed to be. And, I was talking to people along the way, like Ryan Bell, like Mike Harmon, and just some other people out there in the industry that I've worked with, and said, hey, does this sound right to you? This is what I'm, experiencing on the car. And I just leaned on my network to sit there and learn about the car. And I took that time to really, really learn about the car and sit there and say, okay, now I understand what Tom's been doing on the cars. And now I understand, what he's talking about when he says this and when he says that. And you can ask Stewart. I'm very bad at this. Literally, we sit there and say, "Oh, hey, we need a digital camber gauge type thing." We keep borrowing Tom's because Tom has one for the Pro Truck. Literally, I will be on Amazon within minutes type thing, finding the parts, finding the stuff that we need type thing to try to keep the shop and to keep the team going forward. So, that way we don't have to rely on anybody else except us in house. We're relying on me and Stewart to do what we need to do for the team. And now, obviously we brought Bell on as the, director of race operations. And obviously we rely on him a lot now too. And we still rely on Tom and Becca and, obviously Quinn and Mark and everybody else going forward. But at the same time, the buck stops with me and Stewart type thing. We ultimately make that decision of where are we going to take the team? What are we doing with the team? What are we going to put into the team? We look at it, and we've talked many times on many travelings back and forth, not to mention the 27-hour straight drive back from, Elko of, the conversations that we had there. It's just the only person that's going to look out for me and Stewart. Yes, the team's going to look out for us. They're going to be there to have our back and support us. But when it comes down to the cars and the performance and the finances and everything, it's going to be me and Stewart type thing. We're the ones with the biggest skin in the game. And that's why, we make some hard decisions sometimes, and sometimes the team understands it, sometimes they don't, but that's where we have to be in business. We don't look at it as we look at it as a family, but we've also got to look at it as a business type thing. And if we're not looking at it as a business, we're not going to be successful in where we're taking this in 2026 and beyond. So.
Now, are you guys the driving the hauler?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I can tell you when we Mike and I have probably put more, Mike and I have known Mike for 2 years now, and it feels like I've known him for 20 because we have spent so much time together. We probably spent hundreds of hours in a hauler going all over the country to races. Mike and I spent 2 weeks straight together. We went up to Berlin to the race at Berlin, stayed up there for the weekend between, prepared the car, spent time with his family. I mean, I've got my own bedroom up in Belleville, Michigan now. And, we went to Elko. And then when the race got over at midnight, Mike and we started the trek home, and we drove 27 straight hours home after the race in Elko, and, took turns. And I mean, we have each other, to lean on when we're doing that. You have nobody else. And so, that's really where this partnership and this friendship kind of came together, is just in all the time and all the, having to lean on each other to get this done. And it just has been a really, I think I told you on the first meeting when we had Quinn and Becca on at the same time, as I said, it's just been blessed at how the right people have come along at the right time. And it was just a blessing that Mike came along when he did. And, it was just kind of a thing that Becca asked him out to come to our testing session. And just from there, it just kind of took off, and it's been just a great pairing since.
Now, are you guys going to be driving this year?
Not plan. I mean, I'll be driving a hauler. I like the behind the scenes stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. I drove a legend car, a few weeks ago on a dirt track, but I mean, I enjoy that part of it. But where I'm at in my life, I like putting the pieces together to make us successful. That I get a lot of joy out of that, and that's what I strive to do. Mike, I think, will be behind the wheel at some point. Mike's a talented driver. He can drive almost anything with wheels. And so, I wouldn't be surprised to see Mike wheeling a car before too long. But I know right now his focus and my focus is to get our team where we need to be successful in 2026. And that's with, Ryan planning out and running our race side of everything, race operations, and Quinn and Becca driving, and Tom and Ryan crew chief in the cars and getting us to victory lane. And Mike and I want to give them the best pieces we can to get there. And that's our goal as owners.
Yep. No, absolutely. And then, hauler wise, yeah, it'll be me and Stewart in the hauler at this point in time.
We are looking for a toter home. We are getting a toter home. We can't do these. I will say, we can't do these dualies anymore for those long drives, man. It's just too hard. So we do have the big stacker now that we got, and we're working on getting a toter home to do these cross country trips with.
So yeah, I was gonna say we got to find that toter home with the heat and massage for heated seats, massage seats, and stuff like that, like 450 has. So I was gonna say,
If not, we're buying a massage chair and it's going to be going in the back for us to take turns on.
So talking
Yeah.
about toter homes, this is kind of funny. So I work at the airport, and as I pull out of the parking lot and come up to Airport Highway, if you look to the right, there's a white toter sitting right there. And I took a picture of it the other day and I said, wonder if anybody's looking for a toter. And then you guys say this.
Oh
So
yeah, no,
I'll send you guys the pictures and all that. So you guys maybe can give them a call. But yeah, it's sitting in Toledo.
yep. No, we've been looking for a while type thing. It's just a matter of finding the right one that fits for us
Right.
type thing. You know, we don't we're not one of those teams out there that can go out and spend $500,000 on a total home right now type thing.
Right.
We'd rather spend the money where it counts, in our cars, in the seats, in the safety, in the speed. That's where we want to spend our money type thing. We don't want to, you know, overspend on something else to take away from that. So we're being very cautious on how we're doing that and what we're looking at. And, you know, we're leaning on people that we know around us. Hey, you know, what's this cat motor? Do you understand how many horsepower this has? Is it going to make up the hills through the Tennessee, you know, with 3 cars behind it in the stacker? You know, we're just trying to make sure we find that right fit and look for that right deal of what we're going to come across on a toter. And we've looked at many of them. I was going to say, me and Stuart probably on a daily basis are sending toters back and forth to each other every day, 2 or 3 a day, sometimes the same one. Sometimes I'll send him one. He's like, yeah, I sent you that one 3 weeks ago. I'm like, well, it's still for sale. Look here.
That's
So,
right.
but
So
we're
I'm gonna
go
get
ahead.
you guys to laugh for a second. So if you did not tune in to last week's episode with Quinn and Becca, Ryan said that if the girls were 1 and 2 in points, then the girls chimed up and said we would be dress shopping. So Ryan turned around and said, I'll go with the girls and I'll go dress shopping also.
Whoa, okay.
So my response was when Quinn wins a race, Ryan has to wear a dress and he has to shake the champagne. Dylan turned around and said that he'll make it happen. So what's your guys' thoughts of Ryan being in a dress
Well,
when Quinn wins her first race?
well, that was not my vision of winning my first race, what I wanted to see, to be honest, with you, was riding in a dress. That was not my dream. Uh, I'd like to see the champagne flowing and I'd like to see everybody having a good time. I don't want to see Ryan in a dress.
We'll get him a pink tutu that we keep in the pit box just in case.
Yeah, I mean, you know, maybe put a pie in his face or do something like. I'm not interested in seeing him in dress.
We can keep him in a tutu and a tiara in the pit box hanging on the side
Yeah,
just
I
as a
don't know.
reminder.
I told him he'll never live this one down.
No, he won't. But I
Oh
hope
no.
I hope he has to do that. That's our goal. That's our plan.
Yep.
But I told Quinn and I told Becca, I said Becca had 8th place finish was her best, I believe. And then she finished the season 10th at Toledo, which I was able to witness. That was really cool. And then
We had 8th. We lost a cylinder in that last 45 laps, and we lost 2 positions on that. But we were really, you know, top 8, but just had that mechanical issue towards the end. But yeah, the car was fast.
I'm actually surprised there was hardly no cautions in Toledo. Like usually that's a crash fest.
Yeah, there was last year's Toledo race was a crash fest. This year was really tame in comparison.
Right. It went by really fast.
It did. It sure did. But you know, the time that Becca finished 8th at Nashville, Quinn finished 9th at Nashville. That was the first time that she kind of fell on my radar, was when she finished 9th at Nashville behind Becca. And you know, we kind of watched her from there the rest of the season.
Yeah, she can definitely wheel a car just like Becca can.
Hmm
I think
Takes care of her
their
equipment.
chemistry. I
And she
think their
takes care of her
chemistry is going to
equipment.
be really good.
Oh, I think so. And taking care of a car is just as much as important. I mean, you getting good finishes, but also taking care of a car and finishing with it in one piece with little to no damage is just as important. There's some good drivers out there, but they either wreckers or checkers. You know, you can't tear up equipment.
And then I'm gonna share this real quick. So this was Saturday, I believe, or Sunday, at the race shop.
Yep.
Yep.
That's our speedway car right there. We're actually working on that for Daytona.
Very nice. And then I'll throw this out here real quick, Stuart. Actually, I'll let you you tagged everybody in it, so I already got mine. So
That's right, man. Just in time for Christmas. You know,
absolutely,
we actually let some of our people in our team design our shirts. That was designed right there was designed by Dylan Spalding, who does our social media. And so he came up with that kind of retro looking motorsports on it. And I thought it was kind of cool. So we put it out there for people to buy. So hopefully some people would like to sport some CGM Christmas gear.
absolutely. I shared it on the social media, and then I also put the link on there so people can click the link.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no
Appreciate you
problem.
doing that. Appreciate you doing that.
And then so the only thing that I was trying to figure out when we had you on before, Stuart, and I forgot to ask, both of you own your own companies besides for the race team. Can
Yep.
you tell us about both of you tell us about what you guys do outside of the race team?
Yeah, I own a automotive repair shop, an 8 bay automotive repair shop, and we do a ton of fleet business. So we have a lot of regular customers that we deal with, and so we keep a lot of our companies that we do work for keep their fleet going. And so that's my main business. That's why the name of the company is City Garage Motorsports, because my business is City Garage. And so, I wanted to tie them together. So first I thought it sounded good, and I also like the CGM, but we wanted to tie our business together, and that's where the name came from.
Very nice.
Yep. And mine, I've been doing for 30 years. I've done emergency water damage, fire damage, hurricane cleanup, stuff like that for 30 years. Working for somebody else, the majority of that. The last 3 years, I bought my own Service Master. I run that with my son and his best friend that's been doing it for about 12 years each. And we've done some very large projects that have allowed me to, be able to be involved in the racing, at the level that I am now. I was always, involved in going fast. I've got 300 horse jet skis. Got a mud truck that me and him joke around about. I just picked up a new motor for it that has more horsepower than the race car does, type thing. It's 726 horse on a big block. So, like I say, I've always been in that, but just to give you an idea of the scale of, like I say, I own a Service Master. It's called Service Master by Disaster Relief, and here in just in the Tampa Bay area. But we went down and helped in Fort Myers after the hurricanes hit down there, and we did 4,000 condos. We helped 4,000 families down there, to try to recover. We went in there drying things out, tearing it out. I don't do any rebuild, but basically we specialize in getting things dry or getting things cleaned up. And that's allowed me to play in the industry that I'm playing in now and be able to do a lot of things that I couldn't even imagine. And now that I own my own business, we kind of have our own model on how we do things. It's a little bit different than some of the Service Masters and stuff, but it works for us. We're very lean in what we do. Through the storms that hit Tampa Bay here, last year, we sat there, went from 2 employees 1 minute to over 100 employees the next minute, type thing of helping them out to do their jobs and do work and bring people in. And Stuart laughs at me because right now we got the Davis's RV in my yard. And my mom runs a rental cabin up in Michigan called Clayton's Cabins. Stuart's like, hey, when are we moving Clayton's Cabins into your yard? Because they got the Davises have their RV parked in my yard down here, but literally during storm season, if we're anywhere close to the area, I've had neighbors and everybody else volunteer their properties that we can park vehicles on because they know what we do. They know that we're out there helping people. And we've had Tent City around here, RVs around, campers around, everything parked around here, trucks, trailers, semi trailers, everything parked around my property and my neighbors' properties and stuff like that. So it's funny because it's like Stuart and even Gary, my business partner, he looked at it, it's like, well, aren't your neighbors mad that you have 15 trailers parked in your yard all at all times? And I'm like, no, because when the storm hits and they're blocked in the neighborhood, they come and say, hey, Mike, there's a tree across the road. Can you help me get the tree from across the road? And we go out and take the tree, get the tree out of the way and make sure that we've got access to in and out of our property. And I just try to take care of people with the equipment that we have and the knowledge that we have. And we've been able to help a lot of people through the storms and some unfortunate incidents that they put themselves in because they drive in the middle of a creek and call me at 3 o'clock in the morning because their car is stuck in the creek. So,
Well, knock on wood that there has been no hurricanes this year.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have I think we're gonna have a hurricane-free year this year.
I
Yep.
think so
Well,
too. Next year, I have a feeling it's going to be scary.
yep. Well, and like I always tell people type thing, obviously it's my business. I don't ever I can't say that I don't ever wish for a hurricane because that's where I make my money at and stuff like that. But the guy upstairs is what makes the weather happen type thing. Like I say, he's the one that sits there and makes the things happen with the weather. I just want to be there to give the people out there a good quality product with integrity to take care of their home, their business, their high rise. You know, that's what we do. I literally, it's pretty amazing where I've came in 3 years of owning my own business. We went from having 100, air movers that we could dry something out with and like 20 dehumidifiers to literally having over 600 fans and 200 dehumidifiers to be able to dry out so much. Trailer mounted generators, just air scrubbers, anything that we need to do our job, we've made sure to reinvest in our business. And then, basically, I like to race. So luckily my son's been doing it long enough that he can run the business while I'm out racing and running the country with Stuart. And like I say, I don't have to worry about much back here because he takes care of things here at home while I'm gone. So it works out great for me.
Well, it sounds like when we come to or when you guys come to Michigan, I need to make a phone call and be like, hey, uh, I'm on my way.
Yep, exactly.
We'll
Have some fun.
Now, looking at the schedule, there's 3 weeks in a row next year. Goes IRP
Flat
Flat
Rock
Rock,
and then
and
Iowa.
Iowa. So we won't be coming home. We'll be spending that time in Michigan in between the races. So
Nice.
yep.
No, sort of nice. You don't get to go home.
Yep.
Yeah, that Michigan, I'll tell you what, I did. We went up to Michigan last year. We had a good time. My family flew up, and in between the races, we went over to the coast of the was
Lake
that Lake
Michigan.
Michigan? And
Yep.
had a really good time over there. Spent some 2 or 3 days just enjoying the scenery and getting to see parts of the country we don't get to see. So there are some positives to that. My family doesn't drive with us. It's typically me and Mike, and you might throw Logan and my son John Carter in the car with us, but it's most of the time it's Mike and I. But my wife and kids will fly in, and we get to spend some time. And then Mike's family's up there, and his wife I think she went to Elko with us, didn't she, last year?
No, she went to IRP because we
IRP,
went.
that's right. IRP.
Yeah, literally we went to IRP and I told Stuart, I'm like, oh, hey, by the way, you're driving back by yourself because I'm going back up to Michigan on vacation now, and I'm hauling my other trailer with me with my side by side and my bed and trailer. So
That's right. I
sorry,
forgot about
we're
that.
going to Michigan. So I played up in the sand dunes for a week up in Silver Lake sand dunes up there in Michigan with the side by side, tearing it up a little bit, spending a good time with the family.
Do we have an update on the schedule? Does anybody?
The only race that right now that we're waiting on is the Five Flags has not been confirmed. Last I heard, they're still looking for one more race in the East before the schedule comes out. I think I've heard. I'm not sure exactly where it is yet, but
Now, is Becca doing the same schedule she was on last year, or is she running the East strictly?
both Quinn and Becca are going to be running all the races in the East. They're both running for the championship in the East.
Okay.
Yep.
So Becca was running last year in just the Arc Menard series.
Well, we picked we weren't running for a championship or anything. We were just running races last year. So we kind of picked races that we wanted to race. Location was good. The tracks were ones that we felt like we could compete on. So we really didn't have any rhyme or reason to the schedule last year. This year we really felt like we wanted to race for something. We wanted to show what we could do. And so, when Mike and I were talking about it, we said it made sense for us to go for the East Championship this year and then kind of build off of that following year with probably going to be trying to go for the main series the following. We just want to make sure that we do it right way and not just jump in too much and bite off more than we can chew.
Right. And now is Toledo on that East series?
It is. They moved it in. They moved it from October. They moved it to May, and it now is one of those dual. It's going to be a main series and the East series. I've heard for next year. So that's the rumor I've heard. Yep.
Very nice. I love that track. It's the first time I've been there, and now I'm hearing that it's going to be on NASCAR 25. So it's exciting. I need to quit wrecking Becca on. I don't do it on purpose. I've been pushing her. Like I've been racing 200 laps on Daytona or 100 and whatever, and been pushing her, and she gets mad. But and I told her this. I said for the past I don't know couple weeks I've been pushing her, pushing her, pushing her, and it's like we get to the last two laps and I just can't keep pushing anymore. I want to try to go out and lead, and as soon as I do, it wrecks the whole field because I have the difficulty set at 102.
All right. Well, you're not allowed to race in real races behind her, okay?
Well, I know, but at 102 difficulty, I think it's fairly decent. At I'm running second, but they push too hard.
I couldn't help you there. I played the game one time, and that was because Dylan made me do it in the office. But I thought it was pretty cool. But I haven't played the game other than that. Mike might have. I know he's got a really cool sim system over at his place.
Yeah, I've done a decent amount of the iRacing side. I haven't gotten into the 25 yet type thing because it just came out for the PC just here recently. So I haven't had, a whole lot of time to mess with that. I've been messing more with just the iRacing side of it right now and getting used to that and accustomed to that on the rig and stuff like that. Like I say, the new direct drive box just came in last week. The box that was on it was a belt drive box, and it was very, very. It was like driving on ice up in Toledo type thing, trying to drive around in the rush hour on ice in the middle of the winter. And I'm just like, something's wrong with the box, whether it's the settings, whether I just didn't know what it was. We couldn't figure it out. And it was that way since I bought it. So I sat there, end up getting a new direct drive system. And I got, the top of the line one that Kinetic had, put it in there, and, had Ryan help me set it up with help of Brandon. And we got it set up and we're running it. Like I say, Quinn got on it the other day. We're running laps in Daytona, finished complete practice, and her practice times were within qualifying time for Daytona. And that was her first time ever being on my rig and running the track on my rig. And she said she loved it type thing, that, it was very responsive, very, lifelike type thing of running the tracks, just the feedback coming from it type thing. She could feel it had the vibration in the pedals, the vibration in the steering wheel, just had everything that, she expected to see.
Well,
So
next time you want to hop on, let me know.
yes, no, absolutely. I'm just trying to get used to it. Like I say, I'm eventually probably here in the next week or so. We're probably going to be building a man cave here at the garage with the sim rig in it and some more racing, attire and stuff like that around the room. So
Time to get a roller, Stuart.
yeah,
I hear you. I hear you.
Time to give him a roller.
We had we had everybody here last weekend for the, try to move everything into the shop. So the Davises were down from Tennessee and we had everybody here. It was a really good time. And I know that one night after we moved in, they all went over and then ended up getting up on the sim over there at their place. But it's a good time.
yeah, no, absolutely.
So now we've talked about the schedule. We've talked about what you guys' plans are for 2026. What's your plans farther from that? Like looking into the future.
I don't know. Mike and I, we talk, in generalities about it once in a while. Right now, we're really so focused on making sure we have everything to be successful this year that we're just, for me, I'm overwhelmed with just trying to get all those boxes checked before we get into the season. Um, you know, we've had some success, but we haven't had some success on certain tracks. Right now we've got 5 cars in house. One's a speedway car, but we've got to get more cars and more motors, and we're working on that right now to try to do that. And there's some parts and pieces every now and then that we find that we need, and so that's really my focus. I mean, I think we all, if you're in racing, you always want to compete at the best level you can. But we're committed to ARCA. I mean, we love ARCA. We think ARCA is a great place to be. Everybody who's in Cup, Xfinity, well, I guess it's not Xfinity anymore. It's what O'Reilly's now,
O'Reilly.
and then the Truck Series. Where did they all start? They all started in ARCA, and we think it's a great place to be. We're honored to be able to compete at this level, and we really feel like we're in line to do well there, and so we wanna do that. That's our focus right now, is to be a championship level program, and if we can bring that championship home next year, I mean that's our dream right now.
That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
no. Yeah, I was gonna say it's so, and we've talked, throughout the year, obviously, being competitive in racers and always, especially with me being already in the Xfinity and stuff like that. We've talked Xfinity, we've talked Cup, we've sat there. I remember, 9 months ago, me and Stu were sitting down and we was talking, hey, there's a Cup team or I mean a truck team for sale type thing. We want to do it, we want to go after it, we want to stay in ARCA, So we've obviously had the talks and we've learned a lot, since then. And there's changes that we hear are coming down the road, and different series and stuff like that. That we just don't think it's the right time or the right place. Like he says, we want to focus on where we're at. We want to focus on winning at the level we're at, showing that we can be competitive, showing that we can win, and trying to help people out. Like I say, we've even looked at going forward type thing. Do we rent rides? Do we talk to people about getting other rides? Do we bring other cars in? Do we bring other drivers in? We're looking at all avenues of where we're going to go with the team type thing to make the team successful. Because if we have the right, just like we've got Quinn and Becca in the right place, is there that next person that could be in the right place and could help take the team to another level as well? So we've always got our eyes out there, looking type thing, keeping an eye on people, and looking at what that next step is. We've not talked what 27 brings or 28 or anything like that. We're trying to stay focused on 26. We want to put our whole heart and everything that we have into 26, and make sure that we're supporting the girls as much as we possibly can. We're supporting the team. We're putting all the right foot forward on everything. So, like I say, I'm sure as we get midway through 26 and we start to get into the racing and all of the things that we're stressing on now and fighting over now and going through, or fighting for now, not fighting over, but fighting for now and going over, once that all starts to fall into place, as January gets here and testing, and February, March, April, all the races start to come along, and all this starts to come into place, then we can start thinking towards 27. But right now, we can't even hardly think towards 27 right now with everything that we have going on. Like Stuart said, we just got done building out the race shop. We got the mezzanine built. We got everything moved in. There's still some organizational challenges that we're coming across. Obviously, before we was at a shop that we literally was in for almost 2 years, and we could say, "Yep, over on that rack is this." And now we've kind of juggled everything around, and it's all organized. It's all in nice totes and on shelving and stuff like that. But it's like, where the heck did we put that again? Because what tote did we put that in? And so we've got those growing pains, and there's still a little bit of work to be done on the shop. We need to get upgrade the electrical a little bit to get a little bit more power in there, to just have some more equipment in there that we want to have, to help us with setups, to help us with making sure that we have the right parts on the cars, and just some of those electronics that we need for that aspect of it. The Bell is requesting and saying, hey, we need to get this out here so we can make these faster. We want to make sure that we have that, so we give him every opportunity to make those cars as fast and as safe as possible. So
Absolutely. And I was just requested to, since you're both on, I was requested to share our new logo with you guys, which you guys seen. We dropped that yesterday at noon.
Tell Dylan thank you.
Yeah, Dylan actually did a really good job with this. I actually wasn't expecting this. This is awesome. We are going to represent you guys on Area 51 Racing Podcast.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Good. Looks good.
Yeah, Dylan's like, I got something for you, so he shot that over. So, but yeah, I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys for everything. And I mean, like you guys said, it's race time. We're ready.
It's going to be a
And
big, it's going to be an exciting ride. I can tell you that. Well, we are, we as a team were talking the other day, and we're all super excited about getting into the season. It's just hard to wait till get there. It's coming fast, but we can't wait to get on the track and see what we can do. I mean, it really is exciting for us.
when is Daytona's test?
Second week of January.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's not far.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
typically that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the second week of January. I don't think the official dates have been announced, but that's typically when it is.
I mean, we're talking
2 months.
well within 2 weeks. We're in December already.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Daytona test, Daytona.
And that
Yeah.
that's our focus right now. I mean, Ryan has been on that car nonstop since he joined us. I mean, we've cut that car apart, put it back together. I mean, he is working his tail off because we don't have points for Daytona. So, I mean, unless the qualifying's rained out, we've got to qualify our way in. Looking at the teams that have been, rumored out there and have been announced already, could be as many as 50 cars, 50, 55 cars there at Daytona. Only 40 are going to start. So for us, we got to qualify our way in. So it's do or die for us, and it's an important race to be in. So we are putting everything we have into making that race.
Now Becca has to qualify in too.
The car has to qualify in, period. I mean, that's
I
the
thought she
we have no
didn't she
point.
qualify last year?
We got in last year because we used the points from club last year.
Oh,
We had the 86 points last year when we went there, and qualifying got rained out. So we started 25th, which is where the 86 points were. But
oh,
this year we're in the 85. We're 39th in points from last year. So unless qualifying is rained out, we have to qualify in on time.
oh
So,
wow! I didn't realize that.
yep. So, we are just like a lot of teams are. We're in a situation where we have to be at our best. And so we are doing everything we can right now to put our best foot forward and get as much speed as possible out of that car and be ready.
All right. Well, I don't want to hold you guys up, but I have one last question. Can you guys or is there anybody you would like to thank? Sponsors or whatnot?
Yeah.
And then the last thing would be where do people go to get your merch, and also where do they find you guys on social media and the website?
Well, I'll go first, and obviously Orlando Health is enabled us to do what we do. We appreciate them. This year we had Orlando Health, the Watson Clinic, which they built a brand new hospital. Lakeland Highland Hospitals came on board with us. Access IT Group and L5 Shipping. Those four right there are our biggest sponsors who have make it possible for us to race. And then of course we support Gray Bull Racing and Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch and everything we do and everywhere we go because we believe in their mission and what they do. And then, of course, I know Michael said the same thing I do. We thank our family for allowing us to do this because if it wasn't for that, and we wouldn't be able to enjoy this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say that the wives on both of us type thing. Like I say, they support us and stand behind us on everything. They might kick us in our ass a few times as we're going through stuff, but like I say, they stand behind us and help prop us up type thing. When we're talking to them, when we're out of town, when we're missing them and missing the families and stuff like that. We're always talking back with them and thanking our families for allowing us to do this. Because like I say, it takes a lot of time for me and Stuart around the road, and it's not just for the races type thing. It's picking up cars, picking up parts. That's one thing where Ryan's been able to help us. Luckily, is we've not had to make as many trips to North Carolina as we did last year so far, type thing, because Ryan's been able to run back and forth and bring us some of those parts. But we appreciate having Ryan on board. We appreciate everybody that's coming on board for 2026 with the Davises, with Jennifer. Like I say, just everybody being out there helping us type thing it's just awesome to have people standing behind us and willing to help prop us up. We've met so many people at the track, with Talladega when we had some issues there, just the people the Cup teams, the Xfinity teams, the everybody that helped us out type thing. It just we thank all of you type thing. We couldn't do it without the support of everybody out there.
You know, we really are blessed. I think Mike and I will, and we say it all the time, but we really are. We have got the most amazing group of people supporting us, from our drivers. Absolutely love Quinn and Becca. We couldn't be happier with who we have in the seats. From Tom and Ryan, Ryan putting the whole program together, and Tom, wrenching and doing everything he does and helping us, on the pit box, and our pit crew is amazing. We have the best group of people. I couldn't ask for a better group to be associated with. I love getting to the track with them. I love socializing with them. I love being around them, and that makes it easy. I mean, when you do those type of things, it makes racing easy, especially when you spend as much time on the road as we do. It makes it easy. And so, I thank Mike. I'll be honest with you. I'm thankful for Mike. Mike and I spend probably more time together. The only person I spend more time with is my wife, other than Mike. And we've never had a foul word. We've never had a crossword. I mean, we're always supporting each other, and that's kind of rare in this society these days. And so, been very blessed, man. I honestly just truly have loved what we've done so far, and I know we're going to have a lot of exciting things this year to enjoy together.
And I want to thank you guys for coming on, and obviously having us work with you guys on the promoting you guys and whatnot through the podcast this next year.
Well, we need followers, so people follow us. We got a lot of exciting stuff going on. At CG Motorsports FL is our tag, and then citygaragemotorsports.com is our website. And we'd love for people to follow us and see what we got going on. And of course, we have some great people involved, and it's going to be really. You've talked to Becca and Quinn. It's going to be it's going to be a fun year this year with them in the car and racing at the track. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, it sounds like everybody's gonna have a blast.
Yep, and if there's anyone out there, listening to the podcast, that want, looking or wondering how to be associated with the team or be part of the team or whatever, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're adding I was just talking with Stuart earlier today, today and yesterday, that we're going to add a new link on there type thing, make up a new QR code and stuff like that. That if you're interested in, even if it's being out there to support the team as possibly a sponsor, if it's out there just to want to be part of the team, want to be interested in the team, want to know more about the team. We're trying to make those avenues possible type thing, that people can be more personable than just reading a Facebook page, reading an Instagram, reading something out there. We want to be, open to the public type thing. To, if they have questions, they want to come touch a car, they want to see a car. We do events all the time. We just did an event at Quaker Steak and Lube for their anniversary party. We took the car out there, met with one of the other Race to Gives from the Florida Sheriff Youth Ranches. They had a sprint car out there. We literally sat nose to nose with the sprint car, with our car, and we were going to do a starting challenge to seeing who start and be the loudest every hour on the hour type thing. But then we realized with the sprint car, they got to push start those things and not just hit the starter button. It's like, yeah, that probably's not good with a bunch of bikers around, a bunch of people around type thing, to be pushing a sprint car through a crowd.
Yeah.
So we didn't do so on that aspect, but we're looking at doing some events this weekend. We just had some stuff pop up that we're going to be out there supporting Grey Bull this weekend at a big event in St. Pete. So like I said, we're always out there in the public. So if anybody's ever interested in, how to become a partner with us, whether it be a financial partner or just a partner that you want to get more personable with us and, come hang out with the team, look at our website type thing. Like I said, there's going to be ways on there how you can get involved with us on the team level. And it doesn't take, millions of dollars or even hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars type thing to be involved with the teams. I know a lot of people look at NASCAR and they look at like, oh, you got Orlando Health, you've got this, you've got that. We've had sponsors throughout the years. Yes, and Xfinity, yeah, it's a bigger dollar amount. Truck, it's a bigger dollar amount. Cup, it's an extraordinary dollar amount. But in ARCA, it's not. It could be as simple as a $500 sponsor, $1,000 sponsor, $5,000, $10,000. It just goes sky's the limit. It just, the bigger the dollar, the bigger the involvement that you are with the team. So, if anybody's out there listening, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're looking at all avenues of everybody, of how they can help us support the team, With a number 5 car, we're still looking for a title sponsor for that car. If somebody's out there and wants to become a title sponsor, reach out to us. We have no issue talking with anybody at any time, at any level, and given that opportunity.
It takes a village, so we're looking for villagers. So, contact us, get involved. We'd love to have them be a part.
Absolutely. I thank you both for coming on today, and look forward to talking with you guys again very soon. And Michael, hopefully we'll be in touch here within next couple weeks.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
doing another episode.
Yep, no, like I said, I'll text you back on that. Like I said, he answered me back on a couple things type thing, so I'll text you back, and like I say, hopefully we can get something lined up and keep moving things forward.
Absolutely. Good luck in the upcoming
Appreciate you,
season.
Bobby. Yes, sir, man. Appreciate you.
All right, no problem. I'll talk to you guys later.
Nelson,
Yep,
yes,
let's go racing.
let's
Yes,
go.
sir.
Ray.
All right. So that was Mike and Stuart. And want to thank everybody for tuning in today. This was episode 104 of the Area 51 Racing Podcast. Like I said, we showed up our new logo. Super excited. Season 3 will kick off in February. We will have one episode in December and one episode in January, just to kind of test the waters, make sure everybody's up to speed, and then it's let's go racing. Like they've said, starting in February. So if you guys can, please go check out Facebook, Instagram, X. We're also on Spotify to be able to talk with us and follow, subscribe. Also go follow and subscribe City Garage Motorsports. I can't thank everybody enough for all of our fans. We just, like I said, we got into episode 100 with everybody. I want to thank Rob. I want to thank Dave for season 2. I wish them the best. Hopefully they'll things go back to normal for everybody. Wish Rob a speedy recovery and whatnot. He's with his health. But with that being said, would like to thank our sponsors and partners for everything. First of all, thank the fans. Can't thank you guys enough for everything you do. I'd like to thank Spartan Waste, Fox Sports Spartanburg, Harrison's, Action RV, Kylie Glick Racing, Mattman Designs, The Runner's Roost, Alliance Driveway Solutions, Anamore Designs, Circle B Diecast, Driven Sunglasses, Elite Towing and Recovery, High Speed Auto, The Racing Warehouse and Armadillo Apparel, I want to thank Beach Ridge Barbershop. Appreciate him for everything he's done throughout the year. Belcher Cheesecake Creations, Flying Form Concrete Structures, First Pacific Funding, Gale Beard Products, Wings Etc., Dialed In Focus Pouches, Schanzenbach Landscaping, Enigma Tattoo, Henderson Jet Services, Overwear Apparel Group, SBRJR Designs, Ava Hansen Racing, Jeremy Clements Racing, and then Becca Monopoly Racing, and Quinn Davis Racing. Also, City Garage Motorsports, as you guys seen, we will be promoting them this next season also. So with that being said, I thank you everybody for an amazing 2025 season and 104 episodes. Thank you very much, and we will see you guys, like I said, one episode in December, one episode in January, and then season 3 starts in February. So we will see you guys then with some new faces. So talk to you guys later, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Just like me.
right, this is Bobby signing out with episode 104.